Good afternoon. Phil Lindeman with your Krystal 93 News from Mountain Comfort Furnishings and Design. The clock is ticking on a healthcare feud that could leave hundreds, if not thousands, of locals without coverage at Summit's biggest hospital. Common Spirit, formerly Centura, and Anthem Blue Cross accuse each other of price gouging. Says Anthem in a press release, Summit Medical Center is the most expensive emergency room in the state. It can cost over 2 to 3 times more than a front-range ER. If the hospital and insurance company cannot agree on terms by end of today, Anthem patients will lose coverage at Summit Medical Center, Summit Orthopedics, and nearly 60 other facilities statewide. There are 2 caveats. Peak One Surgery Center in Frisco will not lose Anthem coverage. Anthem patients might also qualify for continuity of care. If you are seeing the doc after tomorrow, contact Anthem to see if you qualify. The federal government is closer than ever to treating marijuana like steroids and not heroin. AP News confirms the DEA wants to reclassify marijuana based on another federal recommendation. This would make pot a Schedule III drug like steroids or ketamine. For 5 decades, it's been Schedule I like heroin. This would not decriminalize marijuana, but advocates nationwide are still celebrating. Says the National Cannabis Industry Association, bumping weed down in the drug schedule should allow dispensaries in Colorado and elsewhere to use banks. Pot is a cash-only business, even in states where it's legalized. Summit County landfill is losing money. A report from today's county commissioner meeting shows the landfill is spending more than it makes. Staff calls that unsustainable. A landfill study recommends charging more, up to 38% more for municipal waste. County commissioners are now considering those fees. If approved, you can expect your trash bill to go up. Haulers will likely pass that cost on to customers. Today, we are in the classroom at Summit Middle School.
Brittany Wilson. This is my 14th year.
Summit Middle was her first job. And almost since day one, the 8th grade language arts teacher has been building her own library.
I really want the kids to have access to any book that they might want to read.
She is always scouring Facebook for new titles and bookshelves. Today, she's up to nearly 1,400 books. They line almost every wall in her classroom.
2 years ago, I organized it by genre, so it's a lot easier for the kids to navigate areas of reading that they like.
And what are the 8th graders loving these days?
Fantasy is actually the highest requested middle school genre. That and humor. They love the Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
This love of literature does not end in the classroom. Coming up soon is the annual Summit Middle Poetry Slam, a live poetry reading.
These kids pour their hearts out in these poems, and so it's not easy to get up and say those things in front of your peer, and they are so supportive of each other.
Miss Wilson was nominated by Krystal 93 listener Mark McConnell. He tells us she is one of the hardest working teachers, if not the hardest, in the area and state. I wish I had a teacher like her when I was growing up. Thanks again for going in the classroom, proudly presented by Heavenly Times Hot Tubs and Billiards and the Summit Foundation Bright Futures Fund. In sports, the Rockies open a road series with the Marlins today. The Avalanche are trying to finish off the Jets. They're up 3-1 in that playoff series. Tonight's game, 7:30 on ESPN. And in local sports, today Summit High Girls Lacrosse is playing Aspen at home for their final home game. Girls Soccer has Glenwood Springs on the road. Phil Lindeman, Krystal 93 News.